Namaste. Balls, balls, balls. I'm recording this after just hearing that this evening all cafes and pubs and clubs are all closing down, which, you know, in all seriousness, that they know what they're doing, but oh, darn it. Anyway, let's move on. So, one of the things that I always start with in any of my classes, be it if it's a group class, private class, vinyasa, hatha, is we ball roll, we massage the plantar fascia of the foot, the sole of the foot, because of this book, Anatomy Trains Thomas Myers. This is a really well thumbed book, and here is a picture of the superficial back line, and it runs from the sole of the foot. You can see up back of legs, crosses the sacrum, up the spine, up and over the crown of the head to near enough the eyebrow centre. Stimulate the sole of the foot with a ball massage, and a little bit of magic happens. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to show you. I'll move backwards into space, pop the book down. So, massaging the sole of the foot. I've only done this as a joke. That ball is too big. Let's not use that then. So, you've got different mechanoreceptors at the sole of the foot, and they respond, I should say, to different types of pressure. They've got really funny names, Ruffini, Pancini, and I'm really not making it up. And some of the mechanoreceptors respond to like a really soft, light, feather-like touch massage, and others really like deep, concentrated massage. So you might have a tennis ball at home, so you could do, like, that's really quite hard. You could probably do feather light with that. You can't really squash that. That's gonna hurt. So feather light touch. Again, if you've got a spiky ball, you do not want to be compressing the sole of your foot on that. So feather light rolling. These are what I use with my students. So these are dome-shaped balls, sensy balls. And this could probably be blown up a little bit more, but we can do feather light rolling, but also deep compression to stimulate the mechanoreceptors. So let's give that a go. So I'm going to take this ball, so this is my sensy ball with the domes and nubs on them. Actually, one thing I should say is with kind of these sorts of balls, you'll see when we draw the tissue from the sole of the foot to either the inner arch or the outside edge of the foot, these kind of domes draw the tissue with it. So it's a bit like a pin and stretch type thing that a sports masseuse would offer, which is me, and yoga teacher. So I always start with a roll down. So I'm going to come onto my side come onto the side so that you can see me. So I stand really evenly. I stand on the three corners of my feet, centre of heel, below big toe, below little toe. That forms a triangle. And the feet, outside edges are parallel. And I've put even weight on the 3 points of the feet. So I've got to transfer my weight just a little forwards, and there we go. I can feel just below the little and big toe. And my legs are long, but they're not locked. I'm not pushing backwards, but to the back of the knees. Back of the knees are soft. Pelvis needs to sit nice and neutral. So I normally rock backwards, so sit bones turn back, lower back closes, and then pubic bone tucks forwards, and the lower back lengthens and widens. So rocking through. And in the middle is neutral, and I allow my pelvis to settle there. Shoulders come down, I draw them a little back, not Sergeant Major like, but I draw them a little back so it just feels like the chest is a little more open and the back of the neck is nice and long. So I'm going to interlink the fingers, I'm going to cup the back of the skull, and as I breathe in, I'm going to draw the skull bones up. As I breathe out, I'm going to gently press the head backwards into the hands. Breathing in again, and I'm going to nod, chin towards chest. Breathing out, continuing to roll down through my upper back. Breathing in between the shoulder blades. Breathing out, I'm going to release the arms. Continuing to breathe. And now what I'm going to do, you can see I'm going nice and slowly. Now what I'm going to do is tuck pubic bone under. Because I've got a lot of weight moving forwards from my hips, I'm going to really draw strongly up through pelvic floor. And you can see that, maybe we can't actually, but as I've strongly drawn up, my abdomen draws back. And I'll roll down, and I'll roll down. Roll down, keeping weight even on 3 corners of the feet. Checking that I haven't put a bend in my knees, breaking the chain of the superficial back line, and that there's softness. And I mark where I hang in space. And I don't force it. Oh, okay, so right fingers touching, left fingers nearly there. And now I come up again, nice and slowly. Keep the pubic bone tucked, keep high tone through pelvic floor. As I start to restack to vertical, I can then start to reduce tone through pelvic floor. And I stack, and I stack, and I stack. And then I grab my sensy ball, and you might be grabbing your spiky ball tennis ball. If you're using, I'll just come and get this spiky ball. If you're using the spiky ball and you're doing feather-like touch, you really are just rolling. You're covering the whole of the foot. Rolling really gentle, and you would be doing that for the same amount of time as compressing the sensy ball. So I'm going to grab the sensy ball, my heel is down, I'm going to press down ball of foot, and I'm going to squeeze the ball with my toes, and then I release and I try and spread them as much as I can. That's kind of just for fun, just to mobilise toes. So I'm squeezing down, releasing, squeezing down, spreading toes. I've got that downward pressure of ball of foot pressing down onto the ball. Then I bring middle of the foot and I squeeze the ball, I compress it down, and I'm going to work the inner arch. So I'm going to draw the tissue from under the sole of the foot out to that inner arch, and I've got that strong compression. Now I can feel that the ball is slipping away, so I've got a sweaty foot. Know that that's fine, it's actually quite comforting, and you can see it's now going to pop out. If it stays underneath the foot, you can maintain that heavy pressure, or you can kind of put more weight on, more weight off. There we go. And it's popped out. It was less dramatic than I thought it was going to be. And then you do the same to that outer arch. And always kind of thinking about stabilising in your base. So you can see that I've just moved out a little, so I'm not on a tightrope. And I'm going to put weight down and come off, and put weight down and come off. And you know, I kind of say in class we do this for a minute per foot. If you can do 2 minutes, great. I mean, it's a really nice feeling. Of course, if you're doing deep compression, it can be a little bit strong, a little bit tangy. So you might want to just ease off, you know, be kind of sensible with it. And then you're working through heel. So you heel on the foot, heel on foot, heel on the ball, and you press down and you release. You can keep the downward pressure, but you know, it's pretty strong on the legs, so you might not want to do that. So I quite like to just gently come off, really press down. Don't come off completely. There we go. And I'm going to do that with the other foot. So again, upper quarter of the foot, heel stays on the floor, pressing down, and squeezing with toes, releasing. Now what I always find, and it's really good when you're working both sides of the body, is to start to recognise what feels more open, more pliable, and what is a bit more stuck. So my left foot, don't know why, my left foot feels this is less comfortable than my right foot. I wanted to use the word sore, but I swapped it to less comfortable. And then middle of the foot comes down. Press it down and we'll see how sweaty my left foot is. Draw tissue out. And, I think it's going to be pretty similar. Yeah, so I can feel it coming out, but I'll work with it. You can, of course, press down and come off. I think if I come off, then the ball's more likely to pop out. You can see it's going to pop out. It's quite a nice sensation. You can feel, because of those domes on the ball, you can feel that drag of the tissue. Oh, it's nice. I hope you're enjoying it if you're doing it at home. Lovely. And then working through that outer arch. This for me is trickier, and working the inner arch seems a lot easier. So again, you want that downward pressure, and you can maintain it, or you put weight down, come off, put weight down, come off. It's definitely easier, the outer arch. It's doesn't feel quite as strong as the inner arch of the foot. And then working through the heel. So ball of foot, toes to floor, and you press down, release, press down, release. So you're trying to get really the whole of the sole of the foot. Kind of that's the plan, but you're doing it in 4 quarters. And move the balls out of the way. We're going to do our roll down again, and this is where hopefully we will see some magic, because we have stimulated that superficial backline from the plantar fascia of the foot. So interlink fingers, cut back of skull, breathe into fine length, breathe out, just gentle pressure of the head into hands, then breathe in, take a little nod. Breathing out, rolling down, upper spine. Check feet, check knees, check pelvis position. Breathing in between shoulder blades. And then breathing out, pubic bone tucks forwards. Strongly start to draw up through pelvic floor. So much so that the inner muscles of the pelvic floor pull the front of the abdomen back. I'm not bracing for a punch with the abdomen. I'm internally drawing the superficial abdominal muscles back. And let's see. Oh, I've taken weight back into my heels. And here we go. So, before that ball roll, I was here. And now, still not, I'd like to be flat on the floor, but I'd really have to challenge myself for that. But can you see there's a real difference? And then you roll up nice and slowly. Keeping the weight on the 3 corners of the feet, keep the back of the knees soft. Releasing pelvic floor as you stack. So you're re-stacking, back to standing. So I hope you enjoy that. It's really clever. Why wouldn't you want to do that before you start even your day? It doesn't have to be when you step onto your mat. Before you go out for a run, fantastic thing to do. So enjoy. Namaste.